WWE. He left as well Stardust, and he's back as the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And as soon as he returned, I knew I had to make this video. Let's book Cody Rhodes in the WWE. Let's start off with WrestleMania Backlash. Well, his opponent will be his WrestleMania opponent himself, Seth Rollins. Now, as you saw on WrestleMania Raw or the Raw after WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins would have mutual respect for each other and shake each other's hand. But slowly, Rollins, he's just angered by his loss at WrestleMania. He feels like his WrestleMania moment was stolen by Cody Rhodes and ends up attacking Cody Rhodes, challenging him to a match at WrestleMania Backlash. At WrestleMania Backlash, it's Seth Rollins himself who's victorious after hitting a low blow on Cody.
Almost ran into the official low blow! Rollins goes low! Rollins goes low!
While the ref isn't watching. Cody Rhodes shockingly picks up his first loss in the WWE only a few weeks after he's returned. Ultimately, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are set to have a match at Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell!
This one gets personal. The story behind this is that Seth Rollins, he feels like Cody stole his WrestleMania moment. Cody is untrustworthy. He feels like Cody is just untrustable. He left his old company. Who knows what he's gonna do next? Maybe he leaves the WWE with the Universal Championship. You never know. Ultimately, Cody Rhodes is I can't say this. Ultimately, Cody Rhodes is set to take on Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell. This match is no ordinary match, it's a first blood match. And these two end up main eventing. Ultimately, it's Cody Rhodes who defeats Seth Rollins, defeating Seth Rollins 2-1 in their trilogy by hitting a crossroads through the stage, just like Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole broke the stage at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, by the way. Stand and Deliver. I did make a mistake in my previous video. But anyways, Cody Rhodes ends up winning the feud, I guess. But now we move on to Money in the Bank. Cody Rhodes is seen victorious in a Money in the Bank qualifying match against Otis himself.
Oh yeah!
Cody Rhodes is victorious and is entered into the match. The match has wrestlers like Damien Priest, Austin Theory and Apollo Crews who could be potential candidates to win the briefcase. But ultimately, the match sees Cody Rhodes climbing the ladder, unhooking the briefcase to become your new Mr. Money in the Bank. He's being built up slowly here by the WWE, and Cody Rhodes seems to hit it off with Matt Riddle.
I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying.
Matt Riddle invites him to enter a triple threat 3v3 match against Austin Theory and Heavy Machinery. But someone by the name of Randy Orton has a slight problem with this. He has a problem with Cody Rhodes. He doesn't want to tag in Cody Rhodes. He doesn't want to tag himself in when Cody is inside the ring. He just seems to have a problem. Eventually, Randy Orton snaps and he hits an RKO, laying Cody out inside the ring, allowing Austin Theory to pin Cody to pick up the win for his team. Cody Rhodes is shocked by Randy Orton's betrayal. But Randy Orton again says Cody Rhodes is untrustworthy, and Randy Orton feels like Randy Orton himself had to earn his way up there. Title after title, main event after main event, dream match after dream match. He stayed in the WWE for like 14 years. Cody Rhodes, on the other hand, he was 21. He could have done the same thing Randy did, but no. He refused to do what the WWE asked him to. And he just left. And then he went to he made a name for himself, and with certain terms and conditions, re-signed with the WWE. Eventually, it leads into a dream match at SummerSlam. It's Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. But then you say, what about Matt Riddle? Shouldn't it be like a triple threat or something? Well, Matt Riddle confronts Randy Orton, asking him why he attacked his friend Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton says Cody is untrustworthy, as I said, like the main plot of this feud. And Riddle just doesn't like what Randy's done. So Randy snaps and Riddle hits an RKO. Randy Orton hits a concerto on Matt Riddle. And Randy Orton just snaps, attacks him, and Matt Riddle ends up getting injured. Now Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton are set to have a match at SummerSlam. It's normal 1v1 as it's the first time ever.
That's cap! Totally cap! That means lie!
And the winner of this match is Cody Rhodes.
He beat Randy Orton!
These two are an absolute classic. They just do some cool moves. It's just a really well-rounded and a good wrestling match. everything you need from it, but ultimately it's Cody Rhodes who wins after a crossroads from the top rope. But Randy Orton isn't done with Cody Rhodes. He wants a rematch the next night on Raw, the Raw after SummerSlam, and Cody isn't fully fit. So is Orton, but still Orton wants the match. Ultimately, after some cheap tactics, Orton picks up the win against Cody Rhodes in just a few minutes, and Orton's smiling, he's laughing, he's smug, and then it's Cody Rhodes versus Orton to end the trilogy, and we're going to end it at Clash of Champions. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, but this time it's a no-holds-barred match. This feud gets personal as Randy Orton breaks into Cody Rhodes' house. He tries to attack Brandy Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' wife, and this feud just gets personal with Randy Orton. Randy Orton's a smug heel Orton of the 2000s. It's Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. No holds barred at Clash of Champions. These two go at it, hitting some cool moves, a crossroads through the table, an RKO catching Cody from the top rope. But ultimately, it's Cody who wins.
He beat Randy Orton.
Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
Because of an interference by none other than Matt Riddle. Riddle attacks Randy Orton. Riddle hits the Bro Derek and RKO as well to Orton, hitting him with a concerto, allowing Cody to pin Orton, and Cody defeats Orton. After this feud, we move on to Survivor Series. Cody Rhodes has been added to Team Raw. Seeing as he has had good momentum, he's beat Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, he's won the Money in the Bank, so he is being built up. He's added in the Raw team of Survivor Series. Ultimately, it's the Raw team who wins, and the last two men are Bobby Lashley and Cody Rhodes. Now, Adam Pearce the next week states that the sole survivor will get a WWE Championship opportunity. It's Cody Rhodes and Lashley. But they're not going to have a match because it's Lashley who did pin the last man on SmackDown. So it'll be Lashley getting a match at the WWE Universal title, and wherever it's of his choosing. He can have the match right now on Raw. He can have the match at WrestleMania. He can have the match wherever. Of course, Bobby Lashley, being the heel that he is, he wants to have the WrestleMania moment, and he chooses AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Cody, though, sets out for a title of his own, and that is the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. Finally, this match is coming into fruition, and it will happen at TLC. These two main event TLC in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. But ultimately, it's Roman Reigns seen victorious as he beats Cody Rhodes. I guess you could say clean. It's a TLC match, no disqualification. But yes, the Usos do attack Cody Rhodes.
Whoa!
Roman Reigns does use cheap heel tactics.
Hey Finn, how's it going, man?
And ends up defeating Cody Rhodes. A rematch is set to take place at the Royal Rumble. It will be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. But again, Cody Rhodes fails to win as Brock Lesnar out of nowhere after a whole year makes a shocking return and attacks Cody Rhodes. The match at WrestleMania is set. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar doesn't like Cody Rhodes. The only reason he doesn't like Cody Rhodes is because he's beat everyone in the business. He hasn't beat Cody Rhodes yet. He wants to defeat Cody Rhodes, and that's why he wants Cody Rhodes at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. This feud is very personal. We see Brock Lesnar break into Cody Rhodes' house. We see Brock Lesnar even flip Cody Rhodes' car upside down. We see Cody Rhodes ram Brock Lesnar's tractor, quote-unquote tractor, into a lake. We see Brock Lesnar set Cody Rhodes' house on fire. We see many cool things. This feud gets personal, in other words. Cody Rhodes is set to take on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in a false count anywhere match. We see many F5s through tables, crossroads through tables, steel chairs, sledgehammer, kendo sticks. We see the use of many weapons, but ultimately it's Cody Rhodes who beats Brock Lesnar at the grandest stage of them all. But don't tell me you forgot that Cody Rhodes was still Mr. Money in the Bank, as at the main event at WrestleMania, in AJ Styles versus Bobby Lashley, Cody Rhodes cashes in his Money in the Bank contract at WrestleMania, being only the second wrestler to ever do so. It starts off, Bobby Lashley hits a spear on Cody, 1, 2, but a kick out. AJ Styles with a phenomenal forearm on Lashley. Cody though throws AJ out. He hits a crossroads on Bobby Lashley, his Survivor Series teammate. 1, 2, and 3. Cody Rhodes ends up winning the WWE Championship out of nowhere as he cashes in his Money in the Bank contract. He is now your WWE Champion. Now I'm going to let the comments do whatever they want. You can book him however. You can send them over to AEW. or you can maybe have him have the greatest WWE title reign of all time. Let me know how you'd book Cody Rhodes in the WWE in the comments down below. That's how I'd book him. What a return he had, and hopefully there are great things to come for the American Nightmare.